Truck Talk Media.
C10 Talk, episode 198. Cody Cassel. This kid's got vision, this kid's got style, and this kid, he's got class. Here we go.
Just work on it as you can. Like, enjoy the ride. Like, that's what Chip Foose told me. Enjoy the ride. It's just always stuck with me. Like, you have something, like, be proud of what you have and just slowly build on it when you can, just enjoy the moment. Don't make it such a worry fest.
Damn, son.
Let me tell you what Melvin's Post is packing right here, all right? We've got 411 posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, scored over 30, 11-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some fucking muscle.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind? That just happened.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 truck podcast.
And now I have a chance to be the best, maybe the best in the world.
My old man is a television repairman. Ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I said I got 50 cents in that jukebox, and all I can hear is your mouth clapping. You hear that?
Here's your host, Ronnie Welch.
What's up? What's up? Next Gen C10 coming at you. Cody Cassels. Good dude. Good kid, man. Hopefully you guys had a chance to check out 197 with Miss Halen, Ashley, the C10 girl. I did see her post something the other day with Briggs, which was pretty cool because Briggs was on our first C10 Next Gen or Next Gen C10. So it's cool that these kids kind of, even though they're not, in the same town or area, that their parents become friends and they become friends and you begin these relationships of life. And that's what it's all about. So cool for Halen and Briggs. I need to post that up at Next Gen C10. And then coming full circle here to episode 198 with Cody, who I think he's kind of new to the scene. It sounds like his dad went to some shows and stuff, but he's got it good, man. The truck, the style, and the people that are influencing him, and he's around in the community. He's really digging it, and why wouldn't you? So good episode here with Cody. I didn't plan on splitting them, but we're splitting them, so that's why you get 198 with Cody individually. Now, we are getting ready to head out to North Carolina. Not sure how many of you will see out there. We are going to do some pod while we're out there, so I'll probably throw some stickers in a bag and a few other little things. So if you find me, come up and I'll toss you a few stickers. As long as I got them in my bag, they're yours to have, and I dig handing those out, especially when we go on trips all the way to North Carolina. Never been to North Carolina, nor had I ever been to Tennessee or Bowling Green. So we went out there in August for the Pro Touring Truck Shootout, and now we're looking forward to the C10 Fall Revival. The second one, that's in Oakboro, North Carolina. Hopefully, if you're hearing this and you're in the area, you'll be headed out there. Maybe some of you will be listening on your journey, on your trek, on your travels to the show. So look forward to a good, fun, safe weekend. And then right around the corner, we're going to be ready. If you hadn't have a chance to go on to C10 Talk, we did a story and then kicked it over to the main page. So it's about 40 minutes. Dino and I sat down talking about the 10th annual Get Down here in Phoenix, Glendale, Arizona, kind of based upon the two. So if you haven't ever been out, it used to be in Phoenix, and now we're out in Glendale, which is called Westgate. It's an entertainment district. It will be a very big show. It will probably eclipse last year's numbers, and we think, if I'm remembering right, that was about 1,650 Chevy trucks. Now, one thing that's cool this year is Dino is going to let in some more folks. So Ford, Dodge, he's going to let you in. Now, it's not just anybody. They're capping it to the 98, the OBS stuff. I think on Saturday they might even loosen it up a little bit more. But if you've got a Ford, a top truck, if you've got a Dodge top truck, and it's not newer, then you get with Dino, you DM him, and they're going to put you in. So, under the circumstances and the time, what a stud move, what a way to go, and what a no-brainer. Let other people enjoy in it, and it's just going to make it that much better, and really the best truck show on the planet. So the Get Down coming at you November 13th and 14th this year. If you haven't had a chance to get your hotel, you'll see on that little intro that we did, you need to get that handled because the Buffalo Bills are in town that weekend for the Cardinals, and I think the hotels they're getting harder and harder to get if you haven't had a chance to get one. So jump online and get that handled. Let's just get right into it with Cody. I had a really good time getting to know and meet Cody. I hadn't really, interacted with him. We did a little bit here and there, especially when he dropped the truck, because I'm a big fan of his truck. Obviously, it's a lot like Orange Slice. I dig the retro radness of the 70s, the colors, the whole thing, and I'm really glad that he ended up getting it. And what Cody, his dad, Tim from Carport Customs were able to do as a collective unit and build one really rad-ass truck. So a couple reviews real quick. Let's read these off. If you guys, again, broken record, please get online and let's do some reviews. Let C10 Talk know how we're doing. Last off was Tyler Hart. So we're going to jump on over to Wicked C10. 5 stars. Love the new intro. Keep it going. Yeah, that's we did the new intro at the beginning of the year, so it kind of shows you I'm in the February for the reviews right now. But Wicked C10, thank you so much for leaving that you love the new intro. And you guys, whatever it is, 5 stars, 4 stars, just let us know, and we appreciate the feedback. Relighting the Fire, 5 stars by Barnabizzle213. Hey, Ronnie, I just want to say thank you for the podcast. It has relit the fire in me to start banging on the trucks again. I started listening to your podcast again in November. It just started playing in my headphones on a flight. Destiny, right? And my 15-year-old son and I are now doing the suspension on his 72 with full GSI kit. He's going to have a rad truck for school. And we are also doing the interior on a 64 short bed for my 13-year-old and me. We always listen while working in the garage. Keep it up. Your homies from El Paso, Barnaby, Cyrus, and Kyran. Dude, how awesome is that? We got a couple, speaking of next geners, we got a couple in the making right now. So that will be a fun one. Barnaby, thank you for leaving that review, and thanks for tuning in. And we're stoked that you got that candle relit, and that thing sounds like you're on fire, because those are both killer builds, a 64 and a 72. Who wouldn't want to drive either one of those to school? So both those kids will be rocking it out. Sweet. One more, best podcast out there by Bowtie7272. 5 stars. I love the trucks and talking about them. Your podcast helps me with ideas and where to turn for parts. It helps with staying up to date on great things. I really like hearing about the history. The guys that worked at the assembly plants are great. Could you imagine living at Flint at the time? You're right, dude. What a boom town. How awesome was that? I always kind of go back to Keith Seymour's interview. 1 truck a minute. How crazy is that? All right, let me finish this up here. Keep up the good work. One of these days, I'm going to head down in your area and hit some shows. Thank you for what you do. That's Bowtie7272. 5 stars. Thanks for tuning in. Please, you guys, take the time. Leave us a review. Share the pod. Like the pod. Love the pod. And let us know how we're doing. All right, we're out of here. C10 Fall Revival will be next week. I hope I can get it done when I get back. Episode 199. And that will be interviews, live interviews from the C10 Fall Revival, North Carolina, coming at you. Have a great week. Stay out of trouble. Do what you do. And please take the time to leave us a review. Late. All right. C10 Nation. Continue along with our Next Gen C10. We've got Cody Cassel out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, essentially Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Cody, thanks for coming on C10 Talk, brother.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's going to be a blast. Yeah.
So, classic COVID, 18 years old. What a weird year. Now, I did jump on and see that you're a grappler. Did that affect your season at all for wrestling, or were you able to get through that since that's a winter sport?
We got through the high school season. We were just doing a bunch of like off-season type stuff whenever it really hit. So it didn't affect me too much. We just had like a few more things to do. So, no. The winter sport, it was already over. We were already done. Okay. Any other stuff you did in school? Did you do any other sports? Nah, wrestling was my main sport that I did throughout high school, and that was mainly it. That and car meets. Yeah, there you go. Cool. What weight were you your senior year? My senior year, I was 152. Oh, same. Back in the day, that's what I wrestled. I shouldn't have wrestled 152s my senior year, but I did. I should have wrestled 171s. I couldn't beat the 160 guy. He was too good. So that's how it was for us. I'd always cut. I'd play football at like 185 and then cut down to 152s. Kind of a – Yeah. I was trying to cut to 145. I couldn't make it. I couldn't get that low. Did you wrestle 145s your sophomore, junior year? I wrestled 145 the beginning of my junior year, and then I went to 138 with the 2-pound allowance. And then that off season, I put on a bunch of weight and muscle, and I couldn't go back down.
Yeah, well, it's your balls dropped, bro. He turned 18. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So that's cool. All right. Tell us about how you got involved with this truck, man. I don't even know if you even realize how rad of a truck it is. I think you do, but I tell you what, even from the guys out here, dude, it's a rad truck. So Cody's got a 1976 sport step side. Thing is beautiful. How did that all kind of come about for you?
So it started when I was like 13 years old, whenever my dad started taking me to car shows and watching like the shows on TV. I wanted a fleet side, you know, like I knew I wanted a C10, but I wanted like a 67 to 70 fleet side. So we had went and looked at a few, and we were coming home one day from actually looking at one, and there was a road near the house. We just never took it that much. And I was just sitting there on my phone, and I look up, and I could see the rear fender with that orange paint job and the white stripes. And I could see the orange tailgate, Chevrolet in white, and the rally wheels. And I was like, what is that? You know, I had never seen it. Like, I didn't even know it was a Chevy step side. I saw it, quick glimpse. I mean, I was like, oh, yeah, I think I know those people. You know, we did a pool for them or such and such. I was like, man, I'd love to see that truck. It looks super cool. So 2 months later, he comes to me. We were still looking on the internet for trucks, and he goes, hey, you remember that orange and white truck that you had seen? I was like, yeah, I think so, the one near the house. And he goes, yeah. And I was like, yeah, what about it? He goes, you want to go see it? And I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah, we got to go do a pool job there, so let's go look at it. So we go and look. Come to find out, it had been restored previously in the 90s. It was just a 76 truck, billet grill, rally wheels, just basic truck, you know, rust here and there, basic interior, nothing really special. The bed was shot. And so the dude, he didn't even know C10s were like popping right now. You know, he thought it was just an old pickup truck. So he let it sit under a tree for 3 years, you know, just never use it or anything. So that's when we picked it up. I was 15 at the time. And I just, you know, cleaned it, would drive it with my dad. It was just little simple things here and there until I turned 16. And that's whenever it became my daily truck. And so everyone thought it was just an orange step side with some dumb graphics on the side. Like, we had taken it to Cruising the Coast. Everyone was like, man, why'd you put those graphics on there? And no one understood, hey, it is a sport truck. Like, this is how it came from factory.
People
like,
didn't know they were out there?
No, like, and see, that's the thing. Like, once the truck got built, at the same time when the truck was done, that's whenever, like, I think it's M2, the people that make, like, the little Hot Wheels, they came out with the toy, and then Hallmark, the network, came out with it as a Christmas toy in 2017. And so that's whenever people really started to see it, and they were like, oh, this is kind of cool, but they would never, like, correlate it to my truck. They were like, oh, well, you put that on there. This is supposed to be on there. So it wasn't until the truck really got done and people started calling it the sport truck that people started to understand, hey, this is a sport truck. And like last week, I actually found out myself that they made sport trucks from, I think, 75 to 81. And each year, like every 2 years, whenever the body styles changed, so did the paint scheme. So like 75 and 76, my grandpa used to have a 75 back in the day. It was a V6, no AC, 3 on the tree, you know, just basic truck. My truck came with the 350 package, so it came with the 350, the V8, automatic transmission. And so in 77, 78, it was a different paint scheme. 79 to 80, different paint scheme. And then 81, I think that was the last year that they made it. And see, that's the thing. I've never seen a 77 to an 81. I didn't know they existed, but I was talking to one of my good buddies at Cruising the Coast who has one. And he was like, yeah, no, I've done research. They made them up until those years. They're just super rare.
Yeah, the cool thing is you don't see the two-wheel drive that often. So the four-wheel drive the truck that you have, more so than not, you're going to see a four-wheel drive. So that you have a two-wheel drive, stepper, sport, and the whole package, and it's all there. That's what makes it even cooler. That I don't know the numbers on production on Chevy Sports, but
definitely more of a 4-wheel drive thing than it is 2-wheel drive. So, that you have that 2-wheel drive, and then that you did the whole thing, the whole package, it all works out. It's really cool. And they're all really cool. And that vibe, that stripe package, all that's coming back. Late 70s, Ford, Chevy. I don't think Dodge really did it, but, they definitely have their unique packages and that vintage look. Even my truck, which is Orange Slice, is a 76, and it has a complete and total crazy graphic on it. And people are like,
Oh,
yeah, that is from 1976. It's crazy.
And see, that's the thing. Like, you don't really see the rare packages. Like, if a truck even came with a rare package, you don't see people redo the package on them. So, like, whenever we went to go and redo the truck, Tim Harriman, he didn't even know that it was a sport truck. He didn't know that a sport truck existed. He was more or less like, hey, man, do you want to keep these stripes on here, or do you just want to go to basic orange? And we were like, no, we're keeping the stripes on there. It's a sport truck. We're keeping it true to its roots. We want to keep it a sport truck just with modern touches. And he was like, what's a sport truck? So that's whenever he had to go in and research it and learn about a sport truck. And that's whenever he started to understand, like, oh, wow, I've never seen one. And that's the thing. Like, people they just don't know that they're out there. They disappeared.
So did you guys end up redoing the truck? Was it rusty? Is that the original paint, original stripes, or did you guys redo the whole thing?
So what happened whenever we brought it in, it had your basic rust on it, like on the bottom of the doors. And whenever they went to repaint the truck, they repainted over a lot of rust areas. So the paint was just flaking off. It was still a good condition truck. Like, paint was probably a 7 out of 10, but it had its areas. So what we did, we kept all the original body panels on it, the original frame. We tried to keep everything original. So what we did, we just went in, sanded the whole thing down, and we wanted to go with another orange, something that had a lot more pearl to it. So that's when we went to House of Color and got that sunset pearl. And then we were thinking of just doing basic white stripes on it. But we started thinking a pearl and a basic, it's not going to blend. So we just decided to do the pearl white stripes from House of Color too. But we taped it off, made sure we got the stripes in the same area. So how you see it is how it is, except for all the pearl that we threw into it. But no, whenever we got it, it wasn't the original paint job from 1976. It had been previously restored. It even had the shop's restoration sticker on the back glass. So we had to throw away all the glass and went with one piece of glass.
Cool. So you get this truck at 15. You and your pops find this thing. How did that go down? He surprised you. He said, you want it. It's sitting in the field. We're going to do a pool. Walk us through how you end up getting this truck to, end up restoring a truck too. I mean, you're a young man.
Well, whenever we had went to go see it, we knew the neighbor that owned it. Like, the neighbor had owned it for years, and he ended up selling it to his neighbor, the guy that had a pool. So he had called us that day and was like, hey, look, I need you to come look at our liner. We do vinyl liner pools. And so we're like, yeah, sure. So we ride out there, and the truck was there. So we negotiated a little deal. We were going to give him a deal on the pool if he gave us a deal on the truck. And so the dude was like, look, I don't want a kid driving the old truck. I don't, they're not reliable. Like, he did not know that C10s were just hot. He was more of a Harley Davidson guy, just wasn't into it at all. He was like, yeah, I bought it for my son. My son didn't like it, so I don't want a kid driving it. So we had to kind of pretend like, hey, look, yeah, this is going to be my dad's truck and all that. But no, he didn't know about it. So me and my dad looked at each other. We were like, we should probably get this now before he realizes that this is a super rare truck and tries to jack up the price a lot. So, but he was really adamant. He didn't really want to sell it, but it just took talking to him and everything for him to finally sell it to us. And we brought it home that day, did the paperwork, and then that's whenever we started cleaning it for 2 days because he let it sit under that tree for 3 years. Just didn't even move it.
So were you pretty stoked?
Oh, man, I was thrilled. You know, it felt so nice to say that I finally had a truck. Like getting one at 15, like that is just being truly blessed. You know, I couldn't thank my dad enough about that part. But it was super cool. I'd finally got a C10. You know, I wanted a fleet side, but I didn't even know how popular or like how rare the sport was. I just liked it because it had cool looking graphics on it. It was a round eye, square body, you know, my favorite years other than the 67s and all that. But I could just see it. I knew I wanted to do something to it one day. I just didn't know how soon that was going to happen. You know, like I thought one day down the line after I move, after I start building my own stuff, I thought it was going to happen way later, but it was just, I mean, it's whenever we first got it, we actually just installed a 3.5 drop on it and replaced the front suspension, and we rode around on it like that. That was about it. You know, we just did a Beltec 3.5 drop. I rode around, drove it to school. Me and my friends rode around in it, did burnouts here and there. You know, we were just having fun with it. You know, it was just a everyday truck for me. It was a daily driver. So it was a blast, you know. And that's what I tell people. Like, I'll have people on Instagram send me trucks. Like, I'll even DM people. Like, I saw a truck the other day. It was a 78, and someone put stripes on it, and it was all patinaed out and everything. And I was like, dude, I love these stripes. And he was telling me, he was like, dude, your truck's the reason why I striped it. And I'll tell people, like, dude, as much as I love my truck, I love that patina look, you know. Like, if the truck would have been we even told ourselves, if the truck would have been a lot more rusty, we were just going to clear it, leave it rusty with the stripes, and go with it. But just seeing sport trucks in whatever condition they're in is super cool to me. So I drove it around, treated it like it was gold whenever it was a daily driver with rust everywhere. And now I still treat it the same way. You know, I don't like certain things, you know. I'll park at certain places. I'll watch it, you know, just real careful about the truck.
So how did it happen where you went from, you know, it being your daily 15, 16 years old, and then it gets a full restoration? What'd you guys end up kind of doing?
So I was just driving it around one day, and like, you know, the battery started dying on it more frequently. We started noticing that it was burning oil. So every tank of gas, it needed a quart of oil.
Oh, damn.
It was, I mean, I would be going through a roundabout, and I don't even know how this problem happens, but going through a roundabout, the truck would die. Like, I don't understand how that part would happen at all. But it was slowly going downhill. And that's whenever we realized, let's just swap the motor. You know, that's what it started off as. And that's really what I thought was happening. There's the C10, the Mississippi president, I'm pretty sure. I think he's the president. Jeff Simpson, he builds a lot of C10s, super cool dude. What my dad had told me was Jeff Simpson was going to swap the motor in the truck, but we had to bring it to Carport Customs, Tim Harriman, for him to, like, quote it and check it out. So we went and dropped it off at Tim's house. And then one day I was like, so has it left to go to Mississippi yet? And my dad was like, yeah, it's already at Jeff's house. He's starting on it right now. I was like, okay, yeah, that's super cool. Yeah. So when's it going to be done? And he was like, I don't know. And he was like, but Tim did call. He wants to talk to you about, like, how it's going to happen. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And, you know, being 16 years old, I wasn't, like, clicking things. I wasn't putting two and two together. So we go over to Tim's house, and I can just see behind Tim's house the truck was at the shop. And I was like, man, I thought the truck was at Jeff's house. Why is it still here? And my dad was like, oh, I don't know. That's a good question. And Tim was walking around. He was like, yeah, man, there's a few more issues with the truck that we need to address, blah, blah. He was like, yeah, man, it needs a lot of work. And so he was like, so what I did for y'all, and he opened the shop door, and there's 2 8-foot tables.
Hey guys, one of the biggest upgrades I was able to make on Orange Slice is my lighting. Think about this. You've got your old school sealed yellow lights. You put in new United Pacific headlights, boom, quadruple the lightage. They look better, they perform better, And guess what? They're safer. So you've got LED options, you've got new headlight options, they look great. And honestly, we upgrade so many things with our trucks, why not upgrade the lighting? When you do, think United Pacific. Here's the best part. You get to save 15% off all C10 products by using code C10TALK15. Save 15% off all C10 products by using code C10TALK15. Go to upcarparts.com. That's right, upcarparts.com. I don't think you'll forget it. Save today. Thanks, guys. Give them a follow on social media too, Facebook and Instagram. You've heard me talk about my gauges. Dakota Digital. I love them. Don't forget the interior of your build. Dakota Digital has the best gauges for our trucks. Whether you want a direct fit into the stock bezel or something custom. These kits are complete with sensors for any engine. The new RTX series is really incredible. I think it stands for retro, but it should stand for rad. They look just like the stock clusters, but have all the technology you'd expect from Dakota Digital. You can change the lighting colors, customize the reading in the message centers, and do it all from the mobile app. That's right, the HDX and RTX series have Bluetooth technology, so you can mess with them from your phone. Just don't do it while you're driving. I mean, literally, I can have Yellowstone. I'm looking at RPM, trip odometer, percent fuel, oil pressure, and now I have the GPS set up. I can tell you direction, elevation, and even outside temp. Damn, son, it's like a modern truck, but even better in a classic. Dakota Digital is absolutely the best in aftermarket gauges, so check them out at dakotadigital.com. dakotadigital.com. And you can follow them on Instagram and Facebook too.
Tim was walking around. He was like, "Yeah, man, there's a few more issues with the truck that we need to address." Blah blah. He was like, "Yeah, man, it needs a lot of work." And so he was like, "So what I did for y'all," and he opened the shop door, and there's 2 8-foot tables, and all the parts were on the table, and even parts on the ground. And he was like, "Yeah, so these are the basic parts that are going into it, and the motor's over there." And he was just showing me all this stuff, and it was like Christmas, man, because it was around Christmas. It started getting restored in December of 2018, but it was like Christmas, man. Just seeing all those parts, him showing me the bags, the switches, the tank, the motor. I mean, it was all there. It was super cool, and I was shocked. I didn't expect that at all, because my dad, whenever we were talking about doing the motor swap, it was always like, what would you do to this truck if you ever had the chance? And I was like, man, I'd probably bag it. I'd put some bags on it, let it lay frame, put some either 12s or 15s in the rear, just make it a nice truck, fresh paint job, change up the interior, get some plaid in there, do something different, I'd make the truck look crazy, and so just him constantly asking me, they slowly started putting the parts list together, and they had ordered all the parts like a month or two ahead. And whenever I got there was still parts that we had to order throughout the build. And so it was constantly like, "Hey, look, we need to order this part. What do you think about this? Like, do you want to go with this color or this color? Like, what about this interior? You want to go with TMI seats or Snowden seats?" Like, so it was my decision the whole way throughout the build. And it was super cool the way that we did it. It was awesome.
So it's just something that your dad really surprised you with, or did he kind of tell you, "Hey, this is your gift, your senior year"?
Oh, no, it was a surprise the whole way. And so the way that it worked, it was actually at my graduation party. That's whenever the truck was like done. So I had went to Tim's shop to do senior pictures with it, and it wasn't done at all. We still had to put a lot together into it. And by my senior graduation party, the truck was done, and that was like a month or two later. And, I was just sitting in the shop, just talking with people. And that's whenever I could hear Tim driving up. It was kind of like almost planned out perfectly, It worked out just amazingly. But my dad, the reason why it worked that way was he used to have a 69 Camaro. He loved the car, but also hated the car. It was a love-hate relationship. hated the car so much that he sold it, and he had the money, and he was going to go to Cruising the Coast and buy him he was either going to buy him a 3100 or a 67 Fleet Side or a already done C10. You know, he was going to buy him a show truck. And just him riding around in the C10 with me and him seeing how happy I was just bringing it to shows, like no attention at all. The truck brought no attention. No one knew what it was. It was just a basic truck. You know, it was like what your everyday 16-year-old would drive if they had a C10. So it was just an everyday truck. And, you know, him just seeing like even like the smallest look over, I was just happy about it, you know. I was like, oh, I got his attention, you know. Or someone asking me, hey, why'd you put those stripes on it? Man, I was happy I was getting asked a question. Just him seeing that, he realized that instead of buying him a truck, it would be better if we built a truck for us, you know. So it was a truck for both of us. Like, we went to Cruising the Coast, and I left early, so he went riding around in the truck. So it's not my truck. It's not his truck. It's kind of a father-son type deal.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Were you able to help out with Tim, or did you go to the shop and do some stuff, or just kind of say, hey, this is kind of my vision?
So whenever it first started, I really wanted to be in the shop every day, every weekend. But since it started in the winter, wrestling every day, wrestling every weekend, all year round, I think I only got out there a few times to really help. And now it's like, hey, I'm working on this. Can you go sand on the bed? I was like, okay. So I would just go and scrub rust off the bed. Didn't know what I was doing. It was just like, it would just have to think of busy work for me. But I only went out there a few times. I'm not going to sit here and say that I fully built the truck with them. It was 50-50. No, but all the decision making was, you know, it was brought up to me. It wasn't like a surprise build, like, hey, look, we did this. No, it was more of like, I had the vision. We had to envision the whole type of deal. And Tim was like, you know, Tim's the man behind it. You know, he's built some awesome trucks in the past. He's still building awesome things right now. And I think this one is just, he topped it. You know, it exceeded my expectations. I never thought the truck would look like this ever.
Yeah, it's a home run. And you, your dad, Tim, the whole team, everybody involved, it came out, you know, 10 out of 10. Was your dad a C10 guy, or how did you kind of get exposed to C10s? You said earlier, hey, you know, I wanted that 67 to 72 style. You found the square body step side. Where did you kind of get even exposed to Chevy trucks?
So it kind of started, my dad brought me to my first show when I was like 12 or 13 years old. And I can still it was like a little small car show. I just remember walking around and thinking that it was so cool just to see old vehicles, you know, like, man, this is so cool. Well, then we went to Cruising the Coast one year, and my dad he would show me C10s. You know, my dad's always been like a Chevy guy. And so he'd show me these C10s. I'm like, man, why does it look like that? And he goes, what do you mean? And he was like, I'd be like, why is I was looking at like the 60s models. I was like, why is the hood like that? And he's like, that's how it was built. And I was like, I don't know if I like that. You know, I just didn't understand the culture. I didn't understand everything behind it, you know, being young and dumb. And, you know, it took him to just keep showing me all these trucks. And, like, I don't know, it just clicked one day. I was like, man, these things are so cool. And I was like, so what's a square body? And he had to, like, tell me so many times. He's like, a square body is from 73 to 87. I would always be like, 77 to 83? He's like, no. And so it was just a constant repeat process.
Dyslexia, switching it around. You're like,
it was always a mess up here and there.
Now you're the go-to pro on Chevy Sports, stripe package, years, everything. You got it set up.
And see, that's the thing. You know, it took me just wanting to know everything. So I just started studying, like, okay, so a 67 C10 looks like this. 68 Camaro looks like this. A Charger looks like this. And it took me, I just started studying, like, body lines and, like, the years of vehicles and everything. So that's what I just started studying for years. Just, like, I wanted to know, like, when cars were popular, what cars looked like in certain years. And it was him that got me into that, because I'd always be like, Dad, you know, like, every kid, like, Dad, what's this? Dad, what's that? And my dad was always like, well, son, I don't know. I can tell you what it is, but I can't tell you what year. So I was like, I'd like to be able to go to a show and be like, man, that's a 67 Camaro. Man, that's a 73 Charger. Man, and just be able to name them off the bat. So that's kind of what I just started looking into. And at the same time, still falling in love with the C10s. But, no, my dad was always a Chevy person, and he is definitely the one that showed me the culture and the love for them.
Yeah, that's cool. And you lucked out, and I kind of like how you ended up with the truck in the sense that it's like meant to be, because you love the orange and the stripes, and it's kind of like, I'm kind of right there. Like, I love your truck because I'm an orange fanatic. I love the retro styling in the 70s, and now that's why I like doing the Next Gen C10 episodes. Is we've got a young man who at 15 gets the truck, loves it, and treated it like gold, even when it wasn't, a show premium winning quality build. It was your build, and it still is your build. It's you and your dad. And now the truck probably means even more to you. I mean, obviously it does because of the journey and what you and your dad have done. And now it's your truck together. It's really it's really meant to be. And that's what I love about, like, the C10 gods and the truck gods are saying, hey, we want Cody to have this truck because he's going to take care of this truck and treat it like, the best thing ever.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, like, everyone, like, the truck got so popular so quick, and we're not even gonna lie to you, like, me, my dad, Tim, all my friends, it honestly took us by surprise, and it was just, we built it to be a driver, like, we drive the truck around the house, and we didn't build it to be a trailer queen. Like, if we would have built it to be a trailer queen and a show truck, man, I could have got a new frame, new body panels, new bumpers, new this, new that. But we didn't build it for that, I loved driving the truck every day to school, every day to practice, to tournaments. I remember cranking it up at 5 a.m. to go to a tournament an hour and a half away. It was my truck. So we didn't want to take away the purpose. Like, if you're going to build something, use it, like, drive what you have. And of course I can't drive it to Tennessee, and I can't drive it to Texas. I don't trust it enough. I still want to get used to it. But it's like driving it around town, just driving it around Louisiana. We drive at the shows here. Now, regardless, we only been to one Louisiana show. But, it was a driver. We didn't know it was going to get so popular so quick. We debuted it at Scraping the Coast, and my buddy just started with photography, and he was like, dude, let's try and make this thing big. Like, let's try and grow together. I said, yeah, I'm down for that, man. And that's whenever, I started promoting the post. I hit up a bunch of C10 guys, and they were like, look, do you have any more photos that I can post? Like, do you have anything? And I was like, dude, no, it just got done. It was done 3 days before Scraping. Like, no, I don't have anything. And they're like, look, go to another show, get more photos, send me more pictures, all this. And so we started realizing, like, man, this truck's, like, getting big. And on Facebook, it was getting big. Instagram, it was getting shared all over. And we didn't expect it. And everyone's always like, man, I love the stripes. Man, I love this. Oh, I love the wheels. I love, everyone's commenting it. And I was just like, I was blown away every time. And, I have people come up to me that, like, trucks that I idle, just full on SEMA trucks in my eyes, trucks that have 3 times, 4 times, 5 times the money that we have into my truck. They're like, dude, this truck's, dude, crazy build. And I'm just looking at them like, I have a crazy build? Man, your truck's, like, out of the water, man. And it's crazy how it worked out. We did not expect this at all. And the people that we've met from it is just insane. It's been a journey so far, and it's only been around since Scraping, so I can only imagine where we're going to go with it.
Yeah, you've been to a few shows. I think you've taken home hardware almost every time you take it somewhere now.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, the awards are just, it's crazy. Like at scraping, we got judges pick, you know, I didn't even expect to win my class at scraping. So judges pick, we were like, man, that's kind of good. Like, I didn't expect this. Like, that's super good. And that's whenever Barry Davison and United by Truck started hitting me up saying, hey, man, you need to come to C10 Nationals. And we were like, dude, that's like 9 to 10 hours away.
Are you saying the GM Truck Nationals?
Yeah, in Lebanon, Tennessee. We decided a few days before the show that we were going to go out there. And that's whenever I met up with C10 Squared. And he was like, hey, dude, your truck's awesome. And I was like, oh, man, I really appreciate that. Thank you. You know, we just talked. And he goes, look, I just want to let you know now, I'm one of the sponsors for the awards. I was like, okay, cool. What does that mean? And he was like, I get to choose who wins my award. I was like, oh, dude, that's super cool. And he goes, yeah, my award this year is Best Step Side. I want you to know that you're going to win the award. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, I'm in love with your truck. I get to sponsor Best Step Side. You're winning Best Step Side, hands down. And I was just thrilled about it because I had actually parked right across from his booth. I was parked with Sloss Tubbs and Bedwood, and him telling me that, it was just like, I don't even know. It was just a crazy feeling. And that's, of course, whenever I met Brian Ashley and Halen and all of them. Like, that's whenever I got to meet them and become good friends with them and talk to them about their truck. And it was just, you know, we met so many friends up there. And then from there, we went to Wake and Scrape in Texas. And I got to meet even more friends over there. And so, funny thing, in Wake and Scrape, I got sponsored by God's Garage. Great cause out of Texas. Their cause, they try and build and fix up cars for, like, you know, single mothers or just poor families, like people that just, they don't have it very well and just, you know, nothing's looking good for them. They try and, people donate them cars, they fix them up. It's non-profit, and they just give cars to those people in need. And I never knew that until they wanted to talk to me. So I talked to them for probably 2-3 hours at Wake and Scrape, and they sponsored me, gave me an award. I got top 100. Well, then it started to rain at the show. So we go to load up the truck. We load up the truck. My dad was like, hey, go back, you know, go watch the award show, go have fun, blah, blah. I come back to the award show. They're yelling my name to come get an award. We won Best Classic Truck at the show.
Hey, guys, I have Jim Flanders' Brothers Trucks on. Jim, what's the latest?
It's the same old thing over here. We're grinding away, selling truck parts, and really focusing on our YouTube channel.
You know, the cool thing is, myself included, you know, I'll check that channel out. It's a great customer service, a benefit to us. When we buy something, we can get in depth and know a little bit more and know the ins and outs, especially to watch it even before you go to install the product.
Yeah, absolutely. And we built a tech center in the back of the warehouse, so we literally bring in new products, we'll build them onto a truck or put them onto a truck, and we can see instantly how much work it's going to be, how easy it is. And we put that out to our YouTube channel so people, like you said, they'll be able to look at it and go, you know what, I can do that job in a day, or I can do that job in an hour. And it basically just completes a whole package of not just selling the product to a customer, but really backing them up when it comes to showing them how to do it and just making sure that they've got everything they need to get the truck back on the road or keep it on the road.
Like I said, I've watched it myself. I love it. Now, I heard you're rearranging some stuff over there. What's going on in the warehouse?
Yeah, we actually, this last year, we've been building a ton of inventory. And for a long time, we've always said, if you don't have it on the shelf, it's hard to sell it. You know, people want to have it on the shelf. They want to know they can call and get it out the door that day. So, you know, we're just trying to be more efficient. We're trying to have more inventory on hand. And, you know, we've done a really good job at building inventory over the last 25 years. So I think that's what's putting us in the lead in this truck market for sure.
I totally agree. Brothers Trucks, you guys, for all your Chevy and GMC truck parts. And don't forget, they're putting new stuff on their YouTube channel all the time, so check it out. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Hey, guys, I've got Kathy White, Classic Performance Products, CPP on the line. Kathy, how's it going?
Hey, Ronnie, what's up?
What's up? What's new?
We've got a ton of things for the C10 community. First things first, our 2.5-inch Extreme X10 drop spindle. So we've upgraded the current modular spindle to modern technology. This new X10 spindle is a one-piece forged, but it utilizes strong, modern, bolt-in, internally sealed bearing hub assembly. So it's low maintenance. It doesn't move the wheels out, and you can use big brakes from us or any aftermarket big brakes out there in the market.
That's awesome. What else is new?
So we have actually gone back and redesigned our aluminum fuel tanks. As you know, our fuel tanks are the thickest, strongest, and largest capacity in the industry. But now you can actually use the same tank for either a carbureted or a fuel injection application. 63 to 72, it's 20 gallons, and for 73 and newer, 22-gallon capacity.
How about that Coilover Kit? You guys must be killing it with that thing.
That is such a great kit. It's fully bolt-on. It's easy to install. Strongest tubular arms in the market, available with either upper and lower or just the lowers or just a coilover kit by themselves. All the mounting brackets that you need, and it also comes with dual adjustable coilover shocks. So it's really responsive. It's up to you however you want to tune the compression or the rebound. It's perfect if you're just cruising on the streets, and it's proven on the track.
Well, that's what we like. So if you need spindles, the new X10, fuel tanks, coilovers, they've got it. Classic Performance Products, CPP. And don't forget, use code C10TALK, C10TALK at checkout and save 10%. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Ronnie.
I mean, we don't expect, like, we don't go into it looking for hardware at any time. It was just every time we win, it's just like a shock. Because I'll be walking around just commenting everyone's truck, and they're like, well, what do you have? And I'll tell them, and they're like, dude, that truck's so cool. And I'm like, it's amazing to me to hear it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just something that we didn't expect it. We just wanted to build us a truck. We didn't know that it was going to become this huge, we're grateful for it every time, you know?
It's somewhat iconic, right? I mean, people recognize that truck and the stance, and that's when you think about it, you rebirthed this truck. You gave this truck a whole new life, and not just the life like it was when it was 15 and 16 for you, a life now that truck will carry on for a long time, bro.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think whenever we were at Battle in Bama, some guy at the hotel was like, "How much you gonna take for this truck?" I said, "Dude, you're gonna need a lot of money." He was like, "Why?" I said, "'Cause it's not for sale."
Yeah, good.
I was like, "You're gonna have to throw me that ridiculous number, and then I'll think about it, because it's just." I mean, and I get, yeah, I could take a lot of money for it and then go build me another one, you know. I could go find another sport truck, but I'll never be able to say, yeah, so this was my first truck at 15 years old. I can tell you what happened whenever I broke down this time, whenever I broke down that time. Oh, at homecoming, the truck did this. All those stories will be gone, you know. And it's my truck, you know. I don't want to build another one. The truck is what it is. You know, I could build one just like it, but it's not going to be the same truck to me.
Yeah, and you got a good head on your shoulders there, because I'll tell you what, guys, my age, you get to my age, it's like, wish I, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I wish I would have never sold it. And if you keep that mindset and you don't need the money, you can't always build another one. But guess what? If you can still build another one and keep that truck, depending. Obviously, it's not like there's funds everywhere, but you'll come to a point you better run it by the old man. He might kill you if he finds out you're thinking about it.
Well, see, another thing that my dad did that's why we wanted to restore the truck. My dad looked at me and he goes, I can't tell you how many times I wish I still had this truck. Everyone in the world wishes, man, I wish I still had my first truck and all the memories I made in it. And my dad was like, look, I don't want you to come to a point in time if you have to move for college, or if the truck keeps breaking down on you and you can't afford another one, where you sell the truck, because you'll miss it every day and nothing's going to amount to it. He's like, so that's another reason why we restored it. It was my first truck, and it's going to stay with us forever,
Cool. Do you have siblings? Do they ride with you? Just you and who's all in your family?
No, I have no siblings. I'm an only child. parents are split, so I'm mainly with my dad all the time. So it's mainly just me and him in our little man cave of a house.
Yeah, you better not sell that truck then.
Oh no, it's not like a sibling. Like whenever I move away, like the sibling gets to take over. No, it's just
that
it's
happens.
just me and my dad.
So let me a couple questions I have for you that I've written down. What motor did you guys end up putting in it?
We wanted to go with a 5.3. That's what was in the shop whenever we brought it in there. But the 5.3 actually had to go into another person's vehicle. So we went ahead with a 6.0 LQ9, and we got it for super cheap. It was one of Tim's fireman buddies going through a divorce. He needed the cash, just needed to get away with it. And we bought it, I think we bought it for like $1,500. It was a rebuilt 6.0. How it is in the truck is how it was whenever we got it. We just made sure everything was sound in it. And yeah, I mean, it's no street racing truck. It's no drag truck. It's just it gets it where it needs to go.
Well, a 6.0, that's pretty good, because a 5.3 still can get it where it needs to go. And then you lucked out and you got the 6.0. So that's pretty bitching.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a name for that truck?
Whenever I had it, we wanted to call it the Orange Crush, and that's what we kind of was going with it. But since it been rebuilt, we were just thinking like, man, what's a name for it? What's a cool name for it? And we kind of let the people decide. So everyone either calls it the Whataburger truck or Dreamsicle, like those old like push pop things, or Orange Crush. So it really just has like how people look at it. Because, like, we went with the Whataburger theme. We have the Whataburger cups and the bag in the truck, and we have the 76 Whataburger number that I put up. So people are like, oh, look, it's a Whataburger truck. Or driving by, I cannot tell you how many times I hear, oh, that looks like one of those old Dreamsicles, like the ice cream. So us personally, we didn't build it with a name for people to expect. We just was kind of like, we'll let people call it what they want.
Yeah. That's cool. I have the 76. I do that for Orange Slice too. Kind of has those stripes. I throw it in there. Obviously, it's a 76, and it's funny. Some good times back then. One of the things that I pulled off your social media, you were young at the time. It looks like you were probably 15. Is you got to have Chip Foose design rendering. Walk us through that experience.
So that was super cool. It was whenever the truck was still stock. It was still a stock truck. We had went to a car show that Chip Foose was going to. It was super cool to meet him. I got to talk to him, and that was whenever I found out that he was building the C28. He was building the C10 with a Z28 motor and trans and everything, and he was going to call it the C28. And he even started showing me pictures of it before the truck was even built. So I knew about it before he was even done with it. It was super cool, and he loved the truck. It was super cool. He actually saw the truck and he was like, man, that's a cool truck. I like that. And so what it was is they were doing a giveaway. And so as you entered the show, they gave you raffle tickets. Well, I had some friends come to the show and they left early, so they gave us their raffle tickets. And so we were just sitting at the raffle, just hanging out. And so we had won a bobblehead by Chip Foose. We had won a signed – it was a drawing of a car, but I cannot remember what. But it was a signed poster that was already framed. We had let someone else get it. We didn't – we had got a bobblehead. We were okay with it. But we were about to leave, and they were like, all right, the last giveaway, we have Chip Foose drawing your truck or car. And they called our name. And I was like, what? And when I was like, go up there, I was like, no, that can't be right. I was like, there's no way this is the same ticket. And so sure enough, we went up there, and Chip Foose was like, what do you have? And I was like, I have the 76 C10 Sport. And he goes, oh, hell yeah. All right, yeah, let's draw it. And so, I mean, he was looking at me. He was like, all right, are you going to lower it or lift it one day? I was like, man, we're gonna lower it. We're going to bag it, all that. He was like, all right, cool. What kind of wheels do you want it? And at the time, we wanted like the US Mag 5-spokes. So he drew up a sketch of it, got everything right. He had my phone the whole time, looking at photos of it. And you talk about one of the coolest experiences ever is just to watch Chip Foose draw. I mean, he just the way that he drew everything, the way that it was so particular, everything was so complete. Because while he was drawing it, I was like, what's that going to be? Like, why is he throwing blue in there when it's an orange truck?
Dude, I told you it's orange.
Like, yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave it. I was like, let's just see where this goes. And he would use the blue as the chrome, and it was so cool to watch. Because, of course I watched, his show on, TV, and I would always be like, man, that's so cool how he draws that. But seeing it in person was just a different point of view. It was so cool to watch. I sat right next to him the whole way. It was awesome, It was so cool to just watch him draw the truck. And that's another thing, we have the drawing at the house, but we don't bring it with us. So knowing that, people only really know that if they see it on my social media.
Yeah.
It's not something where we go around, hey, Chip Foose, draw this. One thing I would love to do one day is to meet up with Chip Foose again, for him to be able to see the truck and how it came out, and obviously show him the drawing and be like, look, do you remember drawing this 2 or 3 years ago, however long it was? This is what it came out to be.
Yeah, you inspired it,
Yeah, he really did. That's there's so many things that made my dad realize, man, I want to build the truck for my son. And that being another one, Chip Foose drew the truck. There's no point for me to sell the truck if I ever need to get another one. And, oh, well, I still have the drawing. It'd be cool if I could get it back one day. No, it was just, there's so many inspirations behind it. It was so cool. But, no, I'd love to meet up with Chip Foose again. I mean, I'll have to hit him up on Instagram or Facebook one day and see if we can. But it'd be super cool because not a lot of people know that.
Yeah, I bet it'll happen. I bet you'll be able to cross paths at some point, and what an experience. And it would just add to the legacy of the truck. Either way, have you been approached? I'm assuming you have, to have it shot for a magazine.
No, the only thing that has happened to the truck, Craig Rowley, the guy that runs Battle in Bama, he hit me up on Facebook. He messaged me. He was like, hey man, I'm just curious, are you on any show shirts? I was like, no. And he goes, so you're not on a shirt at all? Well, Craig, he was just like, look, I love your truck. So here's what I want to do. I'm only going to do it if you're down. I want to put it on the 2021 Battle in Bama t-shirt. And, I'm going to do it with Bill Ludd. Bill Ludd has this awesome, I'm talking awesome, laid out 4-door GMC crew cab. I don't want to say the year because I know I'm going to mess it up, but I think it's either
a 63.
Really?
Yeah,
I know it's the 60s. I don't know what. Yeah. But they're going to do it with his truck, and he also has a Suburban that he calls Toxic. So we're going to do those 3 trucks on the shirt. It's going to be super cool. He's coming up with the idea right now. But as far as getting shot for a magazine, no one's really hit me up yet. I'm cool with whatever. We're just enjoying the ride while we're still on it. We're just, none of this was expected. None of it was hey, let's build the truck and get popular. Whenever people throw stuff at us, we're just amazed by it, and we're just, I don't even know how to explain it. Just shocked the whole time. None of this was expected, but no. Craig Rowley, that Battle in Bama show is absolutely amazing. It's going to be in March again this year. It was in, I think, September this year because of COVID. He pushed it back so far. But it's going to be in March. I want to say March 13th. Don't quote me on the date.
Usually he runs it in May.
He wants to do it either March or May. I can't remember.
Maybe. Yeah. Battle in Bama, and we'll put it out there. It'd be kind of cool to do your truck and my truck on a shirt. The Orange Nation type deal. The 76s.
Yeah, because your truck came out even before my truck was out. I didn't put the 2 dots together that it was your truck. But no, that truck was super cool because I remember the whole time, my buddies would be like, look, it's your truck, but a fleet side. And I was like, yeah, I know, I get it. Yeah. But no, that truck it's super cool, man.
It's a good time, the 70s vibe. Oh,
yeah.
One little story I do have. What happened with you at the Southeastern Truck National? Something about running out of gas or something. My inside scoops was telling me to ask you about that.
So the truck the truck had a fuel pump problem. With the LS, we mounted it 3/4 on top of the tank. So every time the truck got below 3/4 of a tank, it was starving for fuel, and it was going into like a vapor lock. It was heating it up so much it wasn't getting the gas. And so we didn't know this. So we broke down so many times at that show. Like, it's not even funny. We wanted to ride around Nashville and see everything. Nope. We broke down multiple times at the show. And we even broke down in the judging line. And that was awful. But everyone there was so supportive. They even helped push the truck. Like, they would push the truck up as the line kept edging forward. And we were super thankful because we were embarrassed about it. We were super embarrassed about it. Everyone's staring at the truck. We're just pushing it in the judging line. But no, everyone was super supportive about it. But no, it had a little fuel pump problem. You know, it started vapor locking. It was getting too hot. You know, it was bad. The starter hung up once. The battery drained itself once. It was just, the truck had bugs. It was so new because it was its second show, and the only time it was driven around was scraping. And we only drove it around like up and down Highway 90. Well, bringing it to Tennessee and driving it around so much, I think those bugs just started to come out. But we got those all fixed now. In between Wake and Scrape and Battle in Bama, we brought the truck back to Tim. Or actually, Tim came to our house and worked on it in our shop. But yeah, no, Tim just replaced everything and just fixed all the bugs, and now it runs good again, you know. I broke down at Battle in Bama because the starter hung up. So, you know, Battle in Bama, after that, we had to go and fix the starter. But now, knock on wood, I think we fixed all the bugs on it. So now it really is an everyday, not everyday driver, but it's a cruiser now.
Well, it isn't a 45-year-old truck, so bugs will they'll just rear their ugly head. But hopefully, you got most of them. Now, what do you have planned? So you're 18. You didn't jump right into college. It sounds like you kind of were able to take the break, you know, as your senior year going into college. What's the future look like? What do you want to do?
Well, I'm going to college for instrument and control systems, so I'm going to be doing a lot with like electrical and everything, working on small things here and there. But no, my goal one day is, you know, I really like Texas. You know, I love the scenery over there. So, you know, I don't know where I'm going to end up. I could end up right down the road from where I'm already at. But I'd love to move one day and build me a nice little shop and kind of do what Tim Harriman does, you know, just have my everyday job doing instruments and everything, and come home and build my own stuff on the side, you know, take in little project cars, start building them up, fixing them, you know, engine swapping them, doing anything to make a little cash here and there just to keep building stuff and, you know, eventually build me another big project, you know. I'm really into like the racing scene, you know, cam and stuff, all that. But I also love the classic scene, you know. It's like a mutual love for both. So I think if anything, if I could bring the two scenes together, like most people really do, you know, just build something really cool again. So obviously this culture is going to stay with me. This hobby is going to stay with me for the rest of my life. But one day I'd love to end up just building my own stuff, being able to say, like, yeah, I built this, you know, yeah, so I did this. And it was a vision and a build at the same time, you know. Instead of having to send it off for certain things, you know, let's just get down and build the truck after work every weekend, stuff like that. You know, I'd love to be able to say that one day.
You said the vision. How good does it feel as a young man? And I'm sure you worked with Tim and your dad and other friends, but to come up with a vision and then it being so successful and people loving your truck so much. I mean, you guys did that.
It's crazy because, like, there's so many things that we were going to do and then we changed it. And then we were going to do that and then we changed it. Like, the wheels that were on it, we didn't know that we were going to do those wheels until our buddies over at Dead End Garage put it on their Suburban. And it was the Mob Steel, the Detroit Steel, Mob Steel, Del Rey's. We saw them and we were like, dude, it's like an original rally wheel. that's super cool. Like, let's do that. You know, we were going to go with some Riddler wheels or some US Mag wheels, but we saw those and we were like, those are the ones. Let's go with that. And then we almost had to square off the step side, get rid of all the body lines and make it a square to tuck the wheel. And we were just, there were so many things in the vision that was getting messed up, and it was just, somehow it all came together though. The seat wasn't supposed to be the seat that's in it. The interior wasn't supposed to be the interior. The engine wasn't supposed to be the engine. The paint wasn't supposed to be the paint. Everything got changed so much along the way. And it came out, and we looked at it, and we were like, I like it. I don't care if anyone else in the world likes it. I like it. And sure enough, it blew up, and no one expected it. No one in the entire part of the process expected it.
Well, it's a microcosm of life, bro. I'm telling you, man. I mean, that's what's so cool about it is that's a little bit like how life can be. You know, it might not work out the way you thought. This changes. You go up, you go down, you go left, you go right. But at the end of the day, you look back and you're like, hey, this shit works out. It's all good.
I have people from my graduating class texting me like, hey, is that the same truck that you used to drive to school? And I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, that's the same truck, man. And they're like, dude, that's super cool. I didn't know that it looked like that. I'm like, well, it didn't. We kind of made a few changes, but yeah, no, it's the same truck. So, I mean, it was just, I don't know. It's been a journey so far, and it's, I'm super grateful for it. I really appreciate, all the people I've met along the way, all the friends I've made. I'm still making friends. I never thought I'd ever end up on C10 Talk podcast. I never thought this. I never thought the truck would get any attention, and it's just been a slow journey that we've been enjoying the whole way through.
Good for you guys and your team, and obviously Tim over at Carport Customs, your pops, all the people that you're involved with, and it takes a whole group of people, and you guys did it, and then you show up to shows and you guys kick butt, and then you have a fun time too. It's not like we're here to just win trophies and show off our builds. We're here to have fun, meet people, and be part of this community, this great community that if you're good to the community will give back forever, and it sounds like at a young age you're getting to experience that.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like at Scraping, I hardly even got to see half the stuff at Scraping because I was constantly on the truck, wiping on it, cleaning it, wanting it to look good, and talking to so many people because it was the first time anyone had ever seen it. And now we just go there and we just have fun. We clean it when we get there, and then we clean it the next day. We clean it throughout the day, but it's no longer all right, it's got to be clean. It's got to win this trophy. Let's see what our competition is. No, it's more or less oh man, that's a beautiful truck. I love that truck. Hey, whose truck is this? Hey, how long did it take to build? Hey, what's in it? It's more about just finding out more stuff. I'm constantly learning more and more about vehicles and motors, and I'm just constantly learning about every aspect. I'm constantly meeting more people, and it's an awesome community that I love to be part of. And, I hope it stays with me for the rest of my life,
You'll be the one to decide that. And you might evolve to other things, but that this part of your life won't change. You'll have this memory and this journey with this truck. What do you tell kids? So you're 18 now, you were, young, you met Chip Foose, you picked up the truck at 15. What do you tell somebody who is sitting out there and tunes into this and they're 13, 14, 15, 16 years old and they want to, build the truck?
I mean, obviously I was super blessed with how mine came about. But, I'm super supportive about everyone, as long as you can continue your dream, if that's your dream, that's your goal, go for it, don't have to come to that decision one day where it's man, I got to sell the truck. I really love the truck. Nah, man, if that's your dream, if that's your goal, go for it. I'm going to full on support you in every aspect. Go after those dreams, just keep going after them. and, you know, have that mindset, like, this is what I want to get done. This is what I want to do. You know, if that's your aspect, like I had my vision. I didn't think my vision was ever going to come true. And, you know, I had my dad there and I had my friends there like, dude, that's going to be super cool one day. But, you know, that's like so many people on Instagram, like, man, I'd love for my truck to look like your truck one day. And like, I take that to heart. I'm like, dude, your truck's beautiful as it is. Like, it's patinaed up. It's there, man. You have the truck. Like, just work on it as you can. Like, enjoy the ride. Like, that's what Chip Foose told me. Enjoy the ride. And it's just always stuck with me. Like, you have something, like, be proud of what you have and just slowly build on it when you can, you know. Just enjoy the moment. Don't make it such a worry fest, you know.
Enjoy the ride. I love it. Will you wrestle more, or are you done? Is that all wrapped up?
I actually, this year I went back to the high school to be an assistant coach, but as far as like college wrestling or anything, I'm done. All the wrestling is up north or far west or far east. There's no wrestling in the South, collegiate wise. So I don't feel I'm good enough to go pro at all. So I hung it up. I'm gonna be a assistant coach while I'm in college, and then I'm just gonna go about my life.
So in college, when you said some of the things you said, like an electrical instrument, is that like fuel type stuff? You know, because you are in Louisiana and you know, maybe go into Texas. Is that like oil type stuff, or what kind of career are you looking at having?
It's they call it, the most common field that the job is classified as an I&E technician, an instrument and electrician, like an I&E technician. So it's instrument and electrical. It's really learning like pumps and valves and small instruments, like using small instruments to work on stuff, being able to wire stuff. It's more plant based, but you can really get it anywhere. So you can get into the pharmaceutical field, like in the hospitals, the instruments in there. I mean, you can really take this and go anywhere as you want. Mechanic shops, pharmaceutical plants, welding, you know, anywhere. The possibilities are endless with the job. But really, I'm just gonna see how college goes with it. You know, there's different paths I can take while I'm studying. So really, I'm just gonna do the career, and then like a year into it, I'm really gonna start looking into where I'm gonna pursue it. You know, like, is a plant for me? If so, what type of plant? Do I want to go and become a technician here? You know, I'm just gonna keep my opportunities open. You know, take what's best for me.
Hey, enjoy the ride, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. It all comes full circle. Cody, I appreciate your time. It's been fun to get to know you. You have a great attitude. You're going to go far and do whatever you do want. I love that you're so supportive of other people. And that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day, is really what Chip said, and you're doing it, is just enjoy the ride. Because sometimes you don't really, you're stressed out about it, and then you look back and be like, man, why didn't I enjoy that ride more while I was on it? Now that I'm off this ride, I'm looking back and thinking I should have enjoyed it a little bit more. So you got a great head on your shoulders. Your pop should be really proud. Tell Tim, sorry it couldn't work out. You know, it sounds like as a first responder, he's got, some issues going on over there with the hurricanes and the weather. But we appreciate your time and glad that your truck turned out the way that it did. Thank you so much. Oh, one more. How many of those Hallmark ornaments do you have, bro?
We only got one, and now that I think about it, I wish I would have got a lot more, because it was a 1 year only. So the license plate on the front and back just says 2017. So I don't know if they still make them, but I think it's called M2 Machines. I'm not really sure, but they sell them at Walmart and stuff. We actually picked ours up in Tennessee. They make a truck just like mine. It's lowered. It's got a white top instead of an orange top like mine, but that's like the closest thing to my truck, and it's super cool. We have that.
You can get the Hallmark ones, I think, still on eBay. They don't make them, but you can still get them.
It comes with the little Christmas tree in the back. I mean, it's super cool.
Now, another buddy of mine, Square Body USA, Actifu C10 Diecast, which is Terry Hill, he slammed one for me. So it's literally your truck.
Terry Hill, I met at C10 Nationals, and he's the one that gave me my USA square body license plate for the front.
I'm rocking the same plate, brother.
I rocked that because of Terry Hill. You know, me and
Yep.
him became friends. He's like, man, I love your truck. And I was like, oh, I love this. I love this square body USA. And he goes, yeah, I put on C10s in the park. And I was like, what?
Yeah, you need to go to that show.
We were registered for this show, and since it carried over for next year, we will definitely be there.
The cool vibe about those plates is that that's the period correct for back in the day. That, you know, they ran it. Yep. That's so cool. It really adds to it. And both you and I trucks are rocking that plate, and it just looks retro right. You know what I mean?
And see, with Terry, he just gave us the plate. I was like, oh, how much is your license plate? He goes, here you go.
Yeah.
And I was like,
community, man.
No. And he was like, no, yes, here you go.
Yeah.
And I was like,
he's that way.
What?
He's the mayor. I call him the C10 mayor. So he makes things happen. He's as good as they come, and that is exactly why this community is what it is. Guys like Terry, young guys like you coming up in the scene. We take care of young guys like you, then you'll remember, and someday you'll be an old guy like me, and you'll remember some kid, you know, it's like, hey, I got to take care of these kids. So we appreciate it, Cody. Good luck with the truck. Take care, bro.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.